and we shall crack on with dram number 107, maybe 6, 107. We're getting there. I'm losing count, there's too many. As I've found out, I've got glare on my things. I'm all over the place today. I really am having one of those weeks already, and it's Monday. I do apologise for the last review with Glen Mhor, when for some reason I decided to say that Oban was a Speyside distillery. Not quite sure where that one came from. And as somebody's pointed out on a YouTube comment, maybe the whiskies are catching up with me, which I'm hoping is not the case, but could happen. So, we were just north of Inverness, so let's go into Inverness and go for this particular one, which was one of the first donations that I got from the magnificent Jason B. Standing, who I've literally just had to message on Facebook to say, you know that Glen Mhor that you sent me, which bottling was it? Because I can't remember and I've lost a bit of paper that you sent me. So fortunately, literally 2 minutes ago, he came back to me to say that it was a bottling of Glen Mhor, which is a closed distillery from Berry Brothers and Rudd, and it looks like this. It's Berry's own selection. It's a 26-year-old Glen Mhor, which is bottled at 46%. Excuse me. So Glen Mhor, spelt M-H-O-R but pronounced Vore, means Great Glen. Now it's pretty much slap bang in the middle of Inverness, which is here on the map, and its water source is Loch Ness, which is probably where Great Glen comes from in terms of the glen that holds Loch Ness, because it's going to be a pretty great glen that's got to do that. So it was founded in 1892 by two guys, John Burney and James McKinlay, or McKinlay, which however you want to pronounce that. And they actually held on to it as a company. John had recently walked out of the Glen Albin distillery, which is also in Inverness, and basically set up Glen Mhor as a kind of competitor, because he'd fallen out with Glen Albin over shares in the business. And as it was, in the turn of the century, I think it was about 1909, he ended up being part of a takeover of Glen Albin, and the company that he owned went back to Glen Albin and basically took them over, and the two worked in partnership. Now, Glen Mhor itself actually transferred to the Distillers Company Limited, DCL, which essentially was one of the earliest versions of what is now Diageo in 1972, and that was transferred to DCL by John's son, William, and it was with Diageo from 1972 up to 1986. It was it needed a massive overhaul, and basically in the 80s there was a bit of a whiskey slump, and there wasn't a lot of investment going into whiskey distilleries as there is now, where there's loads of money being put into it and there's new distilleries popping up all over the place. In the mid 80s it was a bit of a slump. It was a risk to put investment in, and basically DCL stroke Diageo went, this isn't working out. So in 86 the stills were dismantled, the buildings were ripped out, and in 1989 it was demolished completely, and where the distillery was is now a shopping centre. In fact, I think pretty much where the stills were is apparently where a co-op is. So it is increasingly hard to get hold of, as you could probably imagine. So I don't know how much this is, this Berry's own selection, because when I've looked to try and find it on any Emporium marketplace, it's basically not available, not for stock, out of stock. Notify us when it's in stock, but I'm willing to bet it's not cheap. So Jason, thank you very, very much for this, because it's going to be very hard to get hold of any Glen Mhor by the sounds of it, so to be able to donate some of that is extremely kind of you. So 46% as well, and this is probably a one-off for me. I think it's very unlikely that I'll ever come across a Glen Mhor again. So really quite a light colour, but a very nice, there's a slight haziness to it as well, so I'm willing to bet, and it's quite warm in here actually. It's been an absolute cracking day, and it feels very summery, even though it's still early May. But there does look to be a slight haziness in this, and the glass is clean, so I'm guessing it's probably not chill filtered. I would imagine not. I'd be very surprised if some company like Berry Brothers and Rudd actually chill filtered and add colouring and all this lot, but you never know. So, ooh, quite potent on the nose, but now what I don't know is what it's been matured in, but I'm willing to bet sherry casks rather than bourbon, which probably means it's bourbon casks, but there's a lovely sweetness to it. There's a slight oiliness and there's a slight floral element to it, but it's not obvious. That's a proper nose. There's a lot going on in that. Almost slightly petrol-y. That's impressive, that. There's a nice oakiness to it, but it's not too dry and it's not too overpowering. There's a really good malty sweetness to it as well. Very malty now. That's really coming through. Not massively potent on the finish. I mean, 26 years old is a long time to be sitting in any type of cask. And it's a long finish, but it's not powerful, it's just there. It's very, very subtle, but it just keeps on going. It's sitting at the base of my throat now. Lovely and warming, rich and malty. Very little smokiness on it. And what there is you could say there is some smokiness to it, but it's really, really subdued. This is an impressive whiskey. There's bags and bags of complexity in this. %46 is perfect for it as well. I wouldn't want it any higher. It's giving a little bit of heat, but it's so subtle that anything less probably would just diminish that complexity that's in there slightly. It's so smooth, and it's smooth and it's deep, but it's subtly deep. And there's maltiness, there's a sugary sweetness, there's the merest touch of smoke. There's a little bit of spice in there. There's like a soft spice, like a soft cinnamon. It's an incredible whiskey because it's so subtle. But it's not so subtle that there's nothing there. There's loads there. It's just married to absolute perfection. That is something special. That really is. Fantastic stuff. Beautiful. That's the sort of thing that you would need to drink after a fantastic meal. Either a high-end restaurant, or if you've got friends around and you've managed to nail that steak and you've had a fantastic steak and salad with it, and you've had a really good dessert, and it's your best friend that you've known for absolutely years, and you go, you know what, shall we have a whiskey together, but shall we have a proper one? And you just sit and you have a great time and you have a laugh and you're drinking something really, really special that tastes special. This tastes like a special whiskey for a special occasion. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant stuff. Jason, thank you so much for that. That is brilliant. That is absolutely fantastic stuff. I have a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit left, and I'm going to finish that. I ain't throwing that away. That's absolutely brilliant. That's up there with the Ladyburn in terms of just complexity, class, style. Great stuff. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Jason. Brilliant stuff. If you can find Glen Mhor, particularly if you can find that one, anyone else that's watching, get it. Get it. It might cost you a fair bit, but to be honest, it's pretty much worth it. Right, as reluctant as I am to rinse everything out, I've got another one to crack on with. I shall see you in the next one. Cheers.